Hello, morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes, and it is Monday, the 19th of August 2024. Sorry. Right. I'm supposed to be on holiday, but I'm not. Because you don't really get any time off when you're doing this kind of job. But yes, it's the middle of August. You've made it this far. Well done. We're going to be talking today about Elon Musk. Again, I'm sorry that this has sort of dominated the conversation in the past few weeks, but he basically facilitated the riots that we saw earlier this month, in which we saw a library being burned down, a citizen advice bureau being burned down, and a hotel which had people inside it threatened to be burned down by a rampaging mob. And there was an article in The Guardian yesterday by Carol Cadwada where she was saying that she believes, and probably quite rightly, that just like Brexit was a trial run for Trump winning in 2016, what happened with the riots over the summer here in the UK was a trial run, a petri dish for what's going to happen in the US if Trump wins or loses the next election, which is probably, if he loses, he's going to spit his dummy out the pram and he's going to mount a rebellion. What happens if the owner of the biggest, well, it's not the biggest, is it? One of the biggest social media networks decides to go all in on the idea that the election was stolen? Who's going to stop him? These owners of these big social media giants, these internet giants, they don't like speak to anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't answer to anyone. They don't have to do anything they don't want to do. The safeguarding aspect of, say, Twitter, we look at that and go, oh my god, it's an absolute skip fire since Musk took over. But the reality is that all of them are doing this. All of them are cutting their safeguards. All of them are cutting back on actually making sure that the content isn't hateful or inciting violence or rebellion or whatever. And no one seems to be stopping them. No one seems to be stopping them. And the real concerning thing about Musk is this. It's not just him. If it was just him on his own and you were like, oh, well, you know, if he wants to spend all his money on this daft crusade, but it's not his money, right? It's the money. The second biggest investor in Twitter is Saudi Arabia, is Mohammed bin Salman. Well, effectively his government, who are a tyrannical government, dictatorship in an autocracy that routinely puts people to death for minor infringements of religious rule. A government that tortured and murdered a journalist, a Saudi journalist, to death in Turkey, Kagoshi, and then also. He has these mad ideas, like he's going to have this line in the desert, and it was going to be a line in the desert, and it was going to be a city, and it was going to be a city that it was really long and really narrow, and it was stretched for 200 miles or something absolutely ridiculous, called Neum, I think it was called, it collapsed. I mean, they're not going to do it. I think they're going to build like half a kilometre of it or something. But they turfed people out from their villages that along the route of this ridiculousness. And if they complained, they were killed. So, you know, not the type of people that I really want investing in social media in democracies. People that don't really like democracies. Musk does not like democracies. Trump does not like democracies. He heaps praise upon Vladimir Putin, a man who invaded Ukraine and is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. He heaps praise on Benjamin Netanyahu, who has invaded Gaza and is responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people, women and children. And he heaps praise upon Kim Jong-un in North Korea. All the dictators. He loves the dictators. He doesn't stop going on about how much he loves the dictators. And so you've got these forces of, let's just say it, evil, who don't like democracy, don't want democracy. Trump said it himself the other day, where he said that after this election, you won't have to vote anymore. You won't have to vote anymore. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, you've got to worry about how these forces are coming together at a critical juncture in the story of humanity, which is that we are terraforming the earth, terrorizing the earth more like, into something that it's not supposed to be. We are messing around with the delicate balance of nature. And it's going to blow up in our faces. We know, we can see this with the forest fires that we've been seeing, with the heat waves, with the flooding that we've seen, with the extreme weather, of extreme cold, of extreme heat on either side of the spectrum. I mean, it's terrifying what could happen and what could be ahead for all of us. Sea levels rising is a big thing. I mean, the warmth of the seawater has gone up through the roof in the last year and a half. Like, have a look at those charts. It is unbelievable. Well, it's not unbelievable. It was predicted. It was completely predicted by the climate scientists who said this will definitely happen. A peach tree dish. Sorry, I had an MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene moment. Thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead there for the first super chat of the morning. That's very kind of you. And my super chat animation isn't quite in the right place. There it is. Now it's in the right place. So send more super chats. It's in the right place now. Thank you. But thanks very much to Johnny Copperhead there. So what I would say before I jump into the chat, we just announced, that we're all leaving Twitter. Some of us have already left. Some of us still got accounts on there to post now and again. But we're thinking it'd be a really good idea to have a day where everyone says, right, we're leaving Twitter, okay? And it's not because we think that's going to destroy Twitter. I don't think it will. But the objective here is not to destroy Twitter, okay? It's to drive away the advertising and users of the site for a bit until Musk is forced to sell it. And when Musk is forced to sell it, hopefully whoever takes it over won't be as insane as he is and will want to run it as a business. At the moment, Twitter's just losing money. It's lost 80% of its advertising revenue because of this lunatic in charge, because he doesn't really know much about business. He doesn't care much about business. He didn't buy Twitter to make a great success of it. I think my personal conspiracy theory is that he was asked to buy Twitter by a consortium of very, very insanely rich, evil people from, Russia, from the Arabian Peninsula. And they said, please, can you shut down the world's, what does he call it? The world's town square. Yeah, can you shut it down, please? Because it's speaking truth to power, and we don't like that. And he's gone, mission accepted. And that's why he's done everything in his power to make Twitter unusable. I mean, he had a phone conversation with former President Donald Trump last week, and he couldn't get it to work for 40 minutes. And I know we have technical problems on this site now and again, on this channel now and again, but we don't have a team of hundreds of people working at the back end trying to make it all work. We have me. Yeah. So yeah, blame me. Anyway, so it is very, very disturbing that he has got so much power. So we're saying August the 25th. This is going to be exit day. We're going to leave Twitter en masse and make a big fuss about leaving Twitter en masse, which hopefully will get rid of a little bit more of the advertising revenue. Because don't forget, Musk is threatening to sue companies for not advertising on Twitter, which is as bonkers as it sounds. And yet, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm thinking that if we can get some big names to say, right, I am sick of this, I am leaving on the 25th, like Mark Hamill, for instance, going to Threads, and that's it. That we might go back when Musk is no longer the CEO or whatever it's called of Twitter. In fact, make that a big thing of like, we are leaving until he comes back. So don't delete your account necessarily. I think that's going a bit too far. But unless you really want to, unless you're really sick of it, but the pressure to get rid of Musk is something that needs to be done as soon as possible. Because if he is in charge when the US election happens in America, he has the power to. You've seen it in the UK. You've seen it what he did with the riots that him and his mates Nigel Farage and Richard Tice all caused. Tommy 10 Names, people like Tommy 10 Names who Musk put back on the platform after they were taken off the platform for inciting hatred, for inciting racial divides in our society, for being anti-democratic even. He put them back on the site. He gave them their accounts back. So we need to get rid of Musk sooner rather than later. So this is our plan. It's not my plan, but I'm jumping on that bandwagon because I think it's a good plan. So yeah, hopefully we will see a departure date of August the 25th where we can get some big names to say, right, we're done with this platform. It is a cesspit. Until Musk is gotten rid of, we will not be here. We'll be somewhere else. And you know, when we call for like a boycott of certain things, there's this idea that it needs to be destroyed. You know, someone doesn't like the new recipe for Mars bars, so they go, right, let's boycott Mars, and that'll make it so there's no more Mars bars. No, that's not the plan. The plan is they're looking at the bottom line, and it dips a little bit. It might only be by 1% or 2%, but companies need to make more money every year than they made the year before. That's capitalism for some reason. I don't know why. But one of the things they can't be doing is losing money, is losing their market share, is losing money year on year. They can't be seen to be doing that. And if they are, then investors, they tend to pull out. And yeah, that's what I'm hoping is going to happen with Twitter. It might not happen because obviously Saudi don't care. They've got enough money. They need to spend the money on crap in order to just, I don't know, keep the fires burning. I don't know. I don't know what they do with all their money, but yeah, it's certainly not good things. It's building daft mega projects in the desert that end up killing people. Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Watching Politics Social with coffee in a Politics Social mug. Great start to the week. Oh, good. Nice one, Tim. Awesome. Tripod at 9,000. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. The great exodus of 2024. Indeed. Just big shout out to Blue Badger in the chat there. We've also got Michael Warner, Nick. We've got Justin. Very good. We got Anthony Fisher, Sarah White, Nick and Diff is in there as well. We've also got Simon, Lucy, Fraz725. How you doing? Has Musk heard of Lord Haw-Haw? I was thinking of Lord Haw-Haw the other day when I was seeing what Musk was writing. So yeah, if you would like to join our socialites in the chat here, I'd like to join what people are saying. All you need to do is just hit the subscribe button, and there you go. Oh my God, that is a big subscribe button. It's not supposed to be that big. Why are you so big, subscribe button? You're supposed to be a normal size. I swear the animations don't work. There you go. Subscribe. There you go. Look at that. That was too big. And then Sarah White saying, but you can't trust them to actually do it right. They'll just be more discreet. They're not honest people. Politics Social. Sarah, a really good point here that you've just made. And this is what blows my mind, right? So Murdoch, who's probably the most evil man in the world. I mean, he's 90-something years old now. And the fact that he's still alive is testament to the fact that he must drink the blood of unicorns every night to keep him going. He has managed to destroy the social contract in Australia, the UK, the US. He has destroyed political careers. He's destroyed careers of just ordinary people. He's done so much damage to the world. I think when Dennis Potter had cancer, he called his cancer Rupert, after Rupert Murdoch. He is a cancer on the world. And but he's very sly about it. Like, he doesn't write editorials in his newspapers these days. I mean, he's not the one editing these newspapers these days. He gets someone else to do it. He gets a minion to do it. And if they're found to have broken the law by, I don't know, tapping into people's phone calls or deleting their voice messages, he can say, oh, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't tell him to do that. And so what he can do is he can set the editorial agenda for the likes of the Times and the Sun, the New York Times over in America, and walk away. Like, he doesn't actually have to do the dirty work himself. And that allows him to get away with it. Whereas Musk is so stupid, so off his tits on ketamine, that he can't understand. Like, I mean, even the basic thing of, like, be more subtle, Musk. Like, if you're trying to advise him on, like, how to get away with this shit that he's pulling, you'd say, stop tweeting. Just stop using your own platform. You've put these hate mongers back on. You've allowed all the bots on. You've done all these horrible things. You don't need to say anything. You just remain silent. Or just tweet now and again a promotion for your latest car or knob-shaped rocket that's going into the sky. Like, don't get into politics overtly. Rupert Murdoch doesn't tweet, I don't think. He doesn't say, yeah, I love Trump. He doesn't need to. He's got Fox News to do that for him. He thinks that's a wise investment. Okay, that's what you want to do with your life. You know, make other people's lives more miserable. Then, you know, wow. It's a sad way. Have you changed your camera settings when you move your hands rapidly? A lot of interlacing artifacts show my end. Oh yeah, that is interlacing pretty bad. Yeah, I'm on my laptop. I'm not at home. I'm in Liverpool this week. So yeah, things might be slightly different, but what I can do is, while you're watching this, I can hopefully see if there's a thing for advanced filters or something on my camera. The resolution, color space, buffering. No, oh my God. Damn it, I can flip vertically. Oh wow, I didn't know I could do this. Shall I flip vertically? Why would you want to flip vertically? Hey, hello. Oh, that's nuts. I think I should do the whole thing flipped vertically. Just do the whole thing like this. Hello everyone. Just doing your edit. I should have done April the 1st like this. I didn't even know you could do that. Right, how do I get rid of that bloody How do we get rid of the... Oh, here we go. De-interlacing. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God, there's a load of different ones. Blend, blend, blend. Linear. I'll just go to blend. Okay, right. How's that? Is that better? That's better. There you go. See? Sorted. Settings. Thanks very much for drawing that to my attention. Hello, comrade, says Flint. Hello, comrade. Alvone says, Murdoch is by far one of the worst people to have ever been born. Yeah, he's up there with Hitler. Jamie says a big party when Murdoch pops his clogs and goes to hell. Absolutely. The Murdoch hell party. David says people like Musk and Murdoch make me hope hell is a real place, says David. Me too. Absolutely. I'm a massive atheist, but oh my God, I want hell to exist just for these people. Captain Bart Roberts, sorry, Paul. I don't mean to offer all white South Africans, all South Africans with the same brush. As I'm pointing out, it's no big surprise to find one. Again, X is easy to curate. Switching from For You to following, plus click near the notification icons. That will open a timeline column that will only show tweets that you set alerts for. Yeah, I get that. But if you tweet now, even if it's just on your For You, the amount of abuse that you'll get is just off the charts. And I know you always get abuse on social media. It's just what the nature of the beast. But the level, the veracity, and the fact that when you report this stuff, and when female friends of mine are reporting this stuff, and there's been some really, really vile things said to them online, the Twitter's not doing anything about it. It's not doing anything about it. Graham's turned into an Aussie, have I? G'day. Oh, it's because I was upside down. Haha, very good. Morning, Graham. Another grey day in Durham. Well, I wouldn't know, Tom. I'm in Liverpool. It's grey here as well, actually. Lucy says, when Musk told JKR off, I thought he was chilling a bit, but no. Then he talked smack about his daughter in that interview, which is disgraceful. His daughter, Vivian, is absolutely awesome. You should follow her on Threads. She's very funny, and she's an awesome human being. She's everything that Musk is not. But yeah, well worth a visit. Graham made a quick visit to the Antipodes, and Alvone says, "Are you telling me the background is green screen? I thought Graham drove to a warehouse every morning. I used to when I worked in the Baltic Triangle. Vendetta. That's why Billy Gates is trying to do so much charity work, because he knows he's going to hell. Not that it exists. Yeah." Well, Billy Gates was more to do with the fact that there were massive antitrust lawsuits going against Microsoft in the early 2000s, and he realized he was going to have to, because one of the problems in the early 2000s was that Windows came with Internet Explorer, so everyone was using Internet Explorer to get around the internet, and other tech companies thought that was a bit unfair. So he was forced to break up Microsoft in a small way. But one of the things he tried to do, because he realized everyone thought that he was dead evil. Everyone, the way people feel about Musk right now, that's how everyone felt about Bill Gates back, in the early 2000s. He had too much money. He was, at the time, I think he was the world's richest man. And so he set up the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But it's a bit of a... I don't want to get myself sued here by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but let's just say they get to choose where they spend their money on charitable outreach, and, have a look at the percentages on what's spent on what. It might look to some, not me, I couldn't possibly think this, but some people have said it looks more like a massive tax dodge than an actual philanthropic endeavour. Some people have said that. Not me. I would never say that. Does this mean he could be anywhere? Put yourself in a conservative conference. Oh, yeah, I can change my green screen to anywhere. I thought Graham was in the emptiest Weatherspoons in Liverpool when I first found the channel, says Captain Bart Roberts. Weatherspoons doesn't look this nice. Charitable, says Sarah. Yeah, have a look into that. But he did that to rebuild his image more than anything, I think, because everyone sort of hated him at the time. And it's making sure that news stories go out periodically about the work that they've done against malaria, which, is commendable, the work that's been done in Africa. But what's slightly less commendable is the fact that he has the money to probably wipe out malaria entirely in the world. Just wipe it out. He's probably got the money to do that if he so wished to do so. Anthony X said posts with a British man telling people posting videos where to get weapons during the riots was completely okay. Oh my God, Anthony. Well, there you go. What do I need to say? Alvone says it's crazy to think that something like Twitter is so politically important in modern day life. It should be publicly owned somehow. Yes. I was talking about this with Mike Dix, who appears on our Friday night show. He was saying this should be a co-op. Yeah, it'd be a much better way of running it, like a co-op where everyone profits. People understand that you need advertising on there in order to make some money out of it. But anyone adding content is part of the cooperative. You have annual, AGMs and stuff like that, and you feel like you're actually part of a community, a community-led thing. I'd like it to be more like that. You think about Wikipedia. Wikipedia is fiercely independent. It doesn't have any ads. It's just an army of volunteers. An army of pedants, some might say, but I'm going to say army of volunteers because some of them are pretty good. But yeah, if we had a model in which something like that, something like Twitter, wasn't owned by one megalomaniacal billionaire who's off his tits on cat, that might be a good thing. Apparently, you can overdose on ketamine, as Matthew Perry from Friends found out. So there's hope for the future, maybe. Hashtag just saying. Okay, so I'm going to just nip over to the papers. I hope this works. Here we go. And it's just basically slagging off the Tories today. That's what's happening. We're getting Tories united in support of Winter Fuel Crusade. That's a front cover of the Express there. We've got the Daily Telegraph. Starmer accused of weakening support for Ukraine. Just basically all things about how bad things are, and because of Labour and all 3 weeks that they've been in power. There's a terrible story about a woman who went for some plastic surgery and died as a result. That's on the front cover of the Mail. The Mirror. On the front cover of the Mail, half of Labour MPs in pay of unions. Oh, okay. You mean the party that represents unions? I mean, they've obviously shown that because it came out at the weekend that Nigel Farage earns was it? Was it 100,000 or £93,000 a month from his stints on GB News? You know, GB News like loses millions and millions of pounds a year. Yeah, that one. Yeah. But Phil made a good video about this. He's like, they measure how much people earn. They don't measure how much people have as, their wealth. It's on salary, not wealth. So there were other MPs like Richard Tice and made more money, let's put it that way, than Farage did last year. We know that. But that doesn't come up because it's all in offshore holdings and things like that. Gets away with it. Don't tell me for a second that Nigel Farage made more money than Rishi Sunak last year. Rishi Sunak, whose personal wealth increased by £120 million that we know of. Don't tell me that Nigel Farage's £1 million is anywhere near that. But still, it's $1 million more than I've got. Blinken joins 11th hour talks on Gaza ceasefire deal. Just really, really need a ceasefire in Gaza. This isn't just for the plight of the poor people in Gaza who have lived through literal hell since October the 7th, but also for democracy around the world. Gaza is a defining issue, and the DNC is meeting this week, and it is a dividing issue as well amongst the left. Obviously, there's people who believe, like I do, that we should be pushing for a ceasefire, like a absolute just pull Israel out of Gaza and start rebuilding, get aid in, and just start helping people there. But Israel, because Benjamin Netanyahu will go to jail if this war ends, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go to jail, obviously. So he's going to cling on by his fingernails to power for as long as he can because he doesn't want to go to jail, and that can help Trump, who also doesn't want to go to jail and will cling on by his fingernails to try and stop himself going to jail. Because if Trump does not win this election, he doesn't just lose the presidency, he loses his liberty. He goes to jail. And he knows it. That's why he's losing his absolute shit that Kamala Harris is just so far ahead in the polls now. Not that that's going to translate to actually her winning because the Electoral College. Big payouts for workers contracted out of hours. That's the Times leading on that. And ET did phone home. Great news from the Star. iNewspaper is reporting thousands of children and teens spiked by vapes or drinks in 3 years. Again, no surprise. There needs to be better safeguarding measures in place to help stop this kind of thing from happening. But we live in a disgustingly misogynistic society in which they are more likely to freak out about the idea of a man being accused of doing something that he didn't do than a woman actually having something done to them in, that is horrific and they'll never get over. I think that needs to change. We've spoken about that before. Fed's daily backs gradual rate cuts as confidence in grows, inflation is tamed. I don't really understand what that means, but that's okay. I'm not a financial person. Thank you very much for the super chat. There wasn't a super chat, just the animation came up. Hey, let's get rid of that. For Trump says £97,800 a month. Wow. Phil is saying all Tories are in the pay of evil billionaires. Yep, they absolutely are. Didn't Rishi Sunak marry money? Jane, yes, he did to an extent, but he was already filthy rich before then. He went to Winchester, one of the elite private schools in the country. He was head boy at Winchester. He went on to Oxford University, and then he got a job in the City of London, basically banking against the British currency, the British pound, the British economy, and he made a shitload of money out of the credit crunch. Hedge funds, yay! I love it when companies go bust. Let's bet on the fact they'll go bust and make loads and loads of money. Vulture capitalism at its finest. But yeah, so he did have a bit of wodge, but not as much wodge. I mean, he had like millions. She has hundreds of millions, but now they've both got hundreds of millions. And don't forget, she wasn't paying tax for a long time on her hundreds of millions because she was registered as a non-domiciled, even when she was living in number 11 Downing Street. They were living in Downing Street in London, and she was still claiming to the taxman that she didn't really live in the UK. Nice. She was only married to the Chancellor. Number 3, 1 million invested at 5% property yields 50k per annum. That's a ridiculous return on your investments for just having money. That's more than the vast majority of people get paid in wages. We need a wealth tax. We need a tax on people's wealth, because it seems cruel to me and unfair that the people working don't get to enjoy all their money, but the people who aren't working but have loads of money to start with because they were born into money, get to just sit on their asses all day doing nothing, and they earn loads and loads of money, which is paid for by the work of you and I. If you have a landlord, they are taking your money that you earned working. They're not working, they own a house. Or maybe that you're helping pay off the mortgage to that house. What a ridiculous system. We really, really need to make... I'm sorry to offend any landlords out there, but we really need to start making landlords scum again. In the 1980s, landlords were looked down on. Like, people went, oh God, you're a landlord. When are you going to get a proper job? But we need to make it so that being a landlord, driving up those rents... I mean, when I was a kid... when I was a teenager, the amount of your salary that would go on rent was around 9%. Now it's between 33 and 50%. There's people in London who take the wage home and 50% of it goes to someone who is already rich in order to pay off their second mortgage or third mortgage or fourth mortgage, doesn't matter. And they go, oh no, I do a lot of work in the house. Yeah, you decorated it maybe, or you paid someone to decorate it. Well done. It's a big risk, you know, a tree might fall on it. Yeah, but come on. You've got someone living in your house who basically can tell you if there's a tap running. Do you know what I mean? Like if there's a leak, so your house doesn't get destroyed. If there's a fire, they'll alert the fire brigade. You've basically got a night watchman who is paying you for the privilege of watching your property and making sure squatters don't come in, making sure no one steals anything from your property, and they're paying you half of their wages to do that. No, we need to really, really address this because it's wrong on every level. Anyway, I don't know if I mentioned, by the way, but it was announced on Friday, I think, by Johnny Reynolds, who I famously went to Glastonbury with back in, was it 1999 or 2000? Might have been 2000. I think it was 2000. It was when David Bowie played. I think it was 2000. We watched David Bowie together. Great days. Great days. Anyway, I've often spoken to Johnny about how annoying it is. Well, not annoying, but wrong it is that you can't tout tickets for football matches or the Olympics, etc. Quite rightly, but you can tout tickets for gigs. And so we have an economy now where basically, unless you're absolutely loaded, you ain't seeing Taylor Swift, because you'll try and get a ticket on the day. You'll be 62,000th in the queue. You won't get a ticket. And then you'll go online and there'll be people who bought up all those tickets, selling those tickets for 10 times their face value, sometimes even more than that. And it's not just your Tatos and your Queen Bees of the world, but it's also like any band that are playing gigs. People... It's their full-time job now. They buy up tickets as soon as they come out, and then they resell them online for way more than people were supposed to pay. I mean, tickets for gigs are already excruciatingly expensive compared with what they used to be. That's not just inflation, that's other factors as well. One of which is like most bands now don't really make money out of records. They make money out of playing live, because that's the only way a band can actually generate some income, since no one buys physical media anymore, and you get a penny for every billion streams that you have of your song. So anyway, Johnny announced on Friday that they're going to have a consultation in the autumn, which I'm hopefully going to be part of, about ticket touting at gigs, and I'm like, this is so overdue. So I'm really excited about that, and maybe in my own way I can do a bit of lobbying. Maybe I've done a bit of lobbying, I don't know, for a law that I really think needs to be put in place, because there's another dimension now. Since the arena bombing in 2017 at the Ariana Grande concert, and more recently when Taylor Swift had to cancel her gigs in Vienna, and also you had the Bacalan in the attack during Queens of the Stone Age. Was it Queens of the Stone Age? I think it was. Or was it Eagles of Death Metal? I can't remember. But there was a gig in which in Paris where people were killed. It's a security aspect now. We need to know when you buy a ticket for a gig who you are. And if someone's been banned from gigs for whatever reason, then they can't get a ticket to go into the arena, into the venue to see that gig. There is a security aspect to it now, which wasn't really there before. But a bigger aspect for me is the cultural shift that we have seen, where young people can't afford to get tickets for gigs anymore unless their parents buy it for them. So they end up going to the gig with the parents. And so you go to these gigs now and there's a bunch of old people standing at the back with their arms folded, you know, and there's not many young people at gigs because, unless they're really young, because they can't afford to go. They just cannot afford to go, being absolutely priced out of an important cultural thing. You know, I've been to thousands of gigs. I've been to hundreds of festivals in my time. It's something that I care about. Arctic Bear, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Arctic Bear. I don't know how the super chat thing came up then, but it did. That was good. So cheers for that. Happy Monday, Graham and the chatty people. Yeah, happy Monday to you. I never really understood why Garfield didn't like Mondays so much. Not that I do like Mondays. It's just he's a cat. Like, who cares what day of the week it is? He doesn't have to go to work. He's a cat. Maybe that was a joke. I stopped going to Glasgow when they let Plod on site, says Captain Bart Roberts. That must have been a long time ago. They've had the Plod on the site since the 80s. Our Democratic National Convention starts later today. I don't like this I don't like... that looks quite flickery, doesn't it? I don't like that. Hang on. I'm just going to change the de-interlacing to this. Is that better? It just looks a bit weird, doesn't it? It looks like it's a low frame rate. It shouldn't be a low frame rate. But it's 30 frames per second. Maybe it's because it's on an American frame rate and not a British frame rate. It's going mad. It's going mad in its old age. Yeah. So let me see if I can just do something about this, because it's annoying me. What's Yadif? Yadif? Oh, that's quite nice. That's better. Okay, I'll use Yadif blending. So what this is when the video camera is doing its thing, it does lines 1, 3, 5, 7, and then does 2, 5, 4, 6, 8 like this. Basically 50 times a second, it flicks between the two. And it can cause flickering and stuff. Twice switching to 25 frames. Yeah, I was going to do that, but I don't know how to change it while I'm actually streaming. I don't know if you can. I'll give it a go. Should I give it a go? I'm already 10 minutes over. Jesus. I love troubleshooting as we go. No, I can't change it. I can't change it while I'm streaming. I will. Please turn off any outputs to change these settings. So what I'll do is once the show's over, I'll set it, because my camera's set to 50 frames a second interlace, so 25 frames will work. He thinks your camera can only record full res at 30 frames per second, but cheats by recording influence to give the recording interlace to give the illusion of 60 frames per second. Well, the thing is, I use the same camera at home, okay, and it's just a little Sony Handycam, and it's 4K. But I don't use the 4K when I'm using my laptop because it takes too much processing power. So I change it so it's only HD instead. So I think it's just the HD setting. Isn't that great? Johan, I've read that one. I've got to get ready to work too. Sorry, Lucy. Sorry, I'm just blabbling on about gigs and nonsense, and I'm not even talking about Musk. And I realised I'm supposed to have like a little strip on the side saying Politics Social. So I'll do that. Done that now. Move around my little thing. What's going on there? Oh, you can see the top. You can see the top of the text at the top there. That's not supposed to happen. Yeah, maybe I should have set this up properly before I started. Anyway, 1080p. Well, no, it is. It's supposed to be 1080p. It shouldn't be 1080i. Andrew Ray, not in the papers. Human slavery of foreigners in Scottish TN trawlers, company owned by Nicholson family. Are they Tories? Been going on since 2010. Court cases timed out. Yeah, I read about that. It was on the BBC website this morning. A horrible case where a trawling company based in Galloway and Dumfries basically took people in from the Philippines and all the places around the world and put them to work for ridiculous hours for ridiculous pay, like ridiculously low pay, underneath minimum wage, basically slave labor. Took all their documentation, took all their documentation off them. It's a bit like how they got those stadiums built in Qatar. Although it was legal there, I don't think it's legal to do that in this country. And yeah, they seem to have got away with it. I was looking up to see if they were Brexiteers. Probably. Captain says, and then there's the Levelers' beautiful days down to Devon. I was them at their first ever gig, supporting McDermott's 2 hours. Ooh, cool. I'm receiving 720p as the maximum resolution. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Yeah. When I'm given my options, I don't think it actually lets me do 1080 to output on this for some reason. It's got like a weird aspect ratio that I was using when I was doing the live stream overnight in London. And one of the things I noticed about it, whenever I tried to show a video, it was cropping the top or bottom, or leaving the letterbox at the top and bottom, which wasn't cool. So yeah, imagine believing the Taylor Swift concert story. Okay, there's a reason why not to. I mean, don't believe anything you read. Looks fine unless it reaffirms your prejudices, and then go on, you crazy fool, believe it. Looks fine, but I'm using DLSS upscaling at my end. Indeed. Well, look, I'll have a play. Oh God, I'll go now. I'll play with my settings, but I'll be back tonight at 8:00 for stateside with Brenna Duncan. We'll be talking about what's happening over in the States at the moment. This a big push for Kamala Harris to hopefully win the presidency in a few months' time. It's the DNC. It's the Democratic National Conference this week in... Where the hell is it? Is it Pennsylvania? I don't know. Anyway, and the rumours that Tay-Tay herself, Taylor Swift, might be putting in an appearance on Wednesday or Thursday night. We will have to see once she finishes doing all of her London gigs. Right. I will be back. And Beyonce as well. I want Taylor Swift and Beyonce to come on and sing a song called Not Going Back that they write together. I mean, come on. That's it. Game over. Trump, you may as well just run off to whatever hole you want to hide in that doesn't have an extradition treaty with the United States of America, because you're in a world of trouble if those two get on this get onto this election and get all their young people who love their songs to vote. Right. Cheers, Graham. Cheers, all. Hit the like button, says Rick Parkin. That is a really good idea. So thank you very much to Rick, and thanks very much to everyone in the chat. And thanks for the super chats, and give us a like on the way out. Hopefully I'll see you at 8:00 tonight. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.